Hey everyone, welcome to Make It Rock, the show where, at least in theory, I show you how I make it rock and tell you how you can too. Although today is a little bit different because we're going to be digging into a pretty heavy topic. I think it's deals with toxic positivity. You may have heard that one before, but do you really know what it means? Do you know the effect that it has both on music and on life? I wonder. Let's see who we got here hanging out with us. We got the Falcro. What is up? Welcome, Falcro. Ed Zielinski just became a member. Right on, Ed Zielinski. Way to go. Nesto6, welcome. Tell us all we suck. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that, but hello, Jenny Jolivet. Welcome. We got Alex Backus here in the house. What is up? We got Q Machine. What's going on, Q Machine? And lovely wife lurking downstairs. We got Joe Glenn is here with us. Denise, so good to see you. And anybody else that might be out there. Yeah. I'm the one crazy enough to talk about it. Anyway, hey, Dan. You're lucky we don't have a defense. Yeah, not toxically positive about that one. Anyway, then we got Indianapolis on Sunday. God help us. Anyway, hey, Crow Master. Yeah, and that's fine. That's perfectly okay. Hello, Fat Panda Cat. Welcome. We're not positive when it comes to football right now. No, we are not. No, we are not. Womp womp. At least the Pens are doing pretty good. Hello, Lily Pillies. Welcome. Manny, how you doing? All right, so let's get into this thing. Barry Glenn, welcome. All right. So let's, we have to, first of all, before we say anything, we have to kind of define what toxic positivity actually is, because, at least we're talking about the same thing. So toxic positivity, according to Wikipedia, which is a website that tells you things that you should know about things, is dysfunctional emotional management without the full acknowledgement of negative emotions, particularly anger and sadness socially. It's the act of dismissing another person's negative emotions by suggesting a positive emotion instead. Might I suggest feeling good about bad thing that happened instead of feeling bad about bad thing that happened? That is what it comes down to, although it's not like that. And the thing about it is, we're all guilty of this. We're all guilty. Nobody's getting off the hook on this one. So toxic positivity is a pressure to stay upbeat no matter how dire one's circumstances are. Did I say hello, Jenny? If I didn't say hello to you, Jenny. Prevent emotional coping by feeling otherwise natural emotions is what the effect of that is. And toxic positivity happens when people believe that negative thoughts about anything should be avoided. Even in response to events which would normally evoke sadness, such as loss or hardships, positivity is encouraged as a means to cope, but tends to overlook and dismiss true expression. The concept of unrealistic optimism was explored by psychologists at least since 1980. I like that term, unrealistic optimism. I may actually like that better than toxic positive, because everything, you ever notice, like, everything today is toxic this and toxic that. I kind of like unrealistic optimism. I wish they would have stuck with that one. But it was explored since 1980, and it first appeared in Jay Halberstam's 2011 The Queer Art of Failure, with the quote, to poke holes in the toxic positivity of contemporary life. So this is I don't think it's a new phenomenon at all, and obviously they've been talking about it since 1980. Toxic Avenger. Hello, Jade. They've been talking about it since the 1980s, and it's I think it's probably been a thing since way before that, the dawn of time. Since human beings started interacting with other human beings, Homo sapiens conversing with other Homo sapiens, I think that's been a thing. Now, we can get into all this psychology stuff. That's a little bit deeper than I probably want to go. But social media. So I think this is a big factor in all this, undoubtedly. Although, like I said, I think it's been around for as long as people have interacted with each other. But social media has been like, it's been like you ever see like they take a magnifying glass and they point it at like an ant and just incinerate the ant because it concentrates the sun's energy. I think social media does the same thing with this toxic positivity. So like LinkedIn, Instagram, I don't know, LinkedIn. People always mention LinkedIn and as if it's a thing, and I don't know. I kind of look at LinkedIn as like spam, but Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call that, YouTube, all the things, exacerbate the problem as it often emphasizes positive experiences and discourages coping with the inevitable downsides. A study on toxic positivity on social media, the drawbacks and benefits of sharing positive but potentially platitudinous, there's a $10 word for you right there, messages online, found the display of positivity online can be beneficial to message senders only if message senders have higher versus lower self-esteem, or if they experience less versus more toxicity. The effect of display of positivity on the message sender can be deemed as negative if the messages suppress the negative aspects of the perceived reality. So it's kind of like that meme. You ever see that dog? The freaking dog sitting there drinking coffee with those flames all around him. This is fine. It's kind of like that meme. Let's see. We had a few comments here already. Falcro says, it is possible to not like someone's music without tearing them up as well as appreciate their effort. Agreed, I have done this myself. I do try to avoid it. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a little bit different. And Lily Pilly is, I wish I keep my emotions in check more. People can read me like a book. If I'm pissed off, it's written all over my face. Yeah, I can relate to that. I positively let you know if your song sucks, but there's always a way to improve on it. That's not really, I don't know if that's really what we're even talking about here today about, it's not about giving criticism to people's music so much. I mean, it could impact that. Interesting that acknowledging toxic positivity rose while capitalism got worse. Don't explore the root of your brutal material conditions. Yes. Lay down on the couch as they hypnotize you now. Yes. Hello, Seagull. Welcome. So yeah, like, social media is a platform for individuals to post whatever content or media they desire. In some cases, one may project a positive outlook on social media to avoid reality. Such excessive signs of toxic positivity can eventually lead to an identity shift toward the process of self-transformation that is the result of intentional self-presentation in a mediated context. Some of this is like, you need to get your degree out in psychology, but social media platforms are an easy way to compare one another, putting additional pressure on individuals to be or stay positive. So that's the thing. You see the perfect family having their perfect beach vacation, right? On Instagram. We've all had this. They're all happy. They're having a great time. They're at the beach. They're throwing the football around. They're throwing the beach ball around. They're running, they're playing in the water. They're having the best time, right? You never see, you know, when these people go on vacation, right? They're arguing in the car all the way there. They're people throwing temper tantrums and stuff. You don't see any of that. That's not what you get. That's not what you get served on. That's not on the curated Instagram feed. That is pushed to the side. All the negative stuff, all the bad stuff, pushed to the side. Maybe it's not the best of all possibilities, and maybe bad things happen for no reason. Yeah. You sort of become who you hang with. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But this can create divergent viewpoints and conflicting perceptions of reality. It's like, I know the reality that I'm in is, living in a world that is really, really fucked up. Okay. In a way that I never even imagined possible when I was young. And it's excuse me. it's sort of like it's sort of like oh you know no the just forget all that's happening. It's all fine. Everything is great. Everything is wonderful. That's what they want you to believe. Well, that's what that's the thing. That's what they want you to feel, or that's what they want you to act like you feel. And it sort of becomes this thing of like, I can't deny the reality that's in front of me, but I'm being asked to deny the reality that's in front of me, and that creates this great source of frustration and So now this is a site, Music Works Inc. So maybe they have a little more insight on how this affects music. I have some other examples as well. Toxic positivity. It may sound like a paradox upon first glance. Yeah, and it does. It's positivity. That's supposed to be a good thing, right? Not always. How could maintaining a positive outlook on our lives or the lives of others become harmful? When life throws us difficulty and pain, isn't positivity something we should always strive for? Let's take a look at what it means to exhibit positivity in our daily mindset. Merriam-Webster defines positivity as the quality or state of being positive, and positive being marked by optimism. It's the glass half full. I like to be a person, they always say like, well, you either see the glass half full or you see the glass half empty. And I like to be the person that says, I see the glass at 50% capacity. Where are my realists at? Anytime there's a press conference at the moment, which I was making a comment to my wife earlier, that it seems like that's all the time, constantly. I don't need others to make my life circumstance bad. The aging process can be painful. And you know what? And we have to acknowledge that. Aging sucks. Getting old sucks. Getting, sick sucks. And there's no easy answer for it. YouTube took away the thumbs down button. I'm actually not in. I'm not a fan of that one. Or I'm not opposed. I think that was a good move. But hello, Dell Music, welcome. So let's take a look at this more. Being marked by optimism means that a person looks more on the favorable side of events, expect the most favorable outcomes, and believe that the good predominates over evil in the world. Now, we know that doesn't always happen, right? We're all living in the same reality, right? I think we are. I think we are. Hello, Pete Johns, welcome. So yeah, how can positivity benefit our daily lives? Seeing the world through a positive lens, generally healthy and beneficial. A positive outlook can empower us to overcome difficulty by envisioning the outcome of a difficult situation with optimism, providing hope for the future, have longer lasting friendships, and build healthier relationships. So not all positivity is bad. I don't want to make it sound like that. But what is toxic positivity? Well, well-intentioned positivity becomes toxic when we gloss over anxiety, stress, or despair. Toxic positivity seeks to fix rather than extend empathy, compassion, and acknowledgement toward others or ourselves. Usually we have good intentions when we seek a positive outlook on our lives or the lives of others. However, when we skip past our difficult emotions to find the silver lining, thinking we can solve a problem or make it go away, our feelings of sadness, grief, loneliness, fear, or stress are left unresolved or ignored. And I think we all know that's a bad thing. That's not good. Not good. Not good at all. Consider this example. In their video, Therapists React to Inside Out, Jonathan Decker and Alan Seawright of Cinema Therapy addressed the theme of toxic positivity in Disney Pixar's film Inside Out. Decker and Seawright discuss the toxic positivity we see from Joy. In the beginning of the film, we see that Joy usually shuts down all other emotions, thinking that she is the ultimate goal and everything else is subservient to her. She views other emotions such as anger, fear, disgust, and sadness as inferior and of less value compared to the happiness and positivity that she offers. Later in the film, Joy finally relinquishes command to another character, Sadness. When she does so, we learn the beauty and necessity of sadness Instead of feeling the need to be happy all the time, joy realizes that embracing sadness is a vital part of our human experience. Sadness builds relationships in ways that nothing else can, and is a invaluable means of being close and developing compassion and empathy. When we allow ourselves to experience grief, anger, fear, and sadness, there becomes a deeper quality to our joy. If you've never felt sad, you can't appreciate what joy is. From the acceptance of our pain and sadness comes a greater appreciation for the love and joy in our lives. So think about that. If we all just walked around, yay, everything is happy all the time, woo! Do you think we're ever really Are we ever really happy? I don't think so. I would argue that we're not. I would say that there's probably something very unhealthy, but it's also like it's just a flat line. Like, part of what makes happy is that there's times when it's not happy, and and vice versa. You have to have all the things. So it becomes really detrimental when one side of the equation is just completely swept aside in favor of this toxic positivity. Consider the implications. If you ever find yourself turning a blind eye to difficult emotions and viewing positivity or happiness as the ultimate goal, consider giving voice and acceptance to your feelings of fear, sadness, worry, stress, anger, and grief. A constant state of happiness shouldn't be an emotional goal, and that is Prothero 2021, if you were curious. In fact, by ignoring our own struggles and warning signs, we might miss an opportunity to respond to underlying mental health struggles within ourselves or loved ones. How can we then in our daily lives practice greater empathy? Are there others to look up to? Are there others who look up to us? How can we model a lifestyle of embracing our full range of emotions without striving to immediately fix or resolve them? And I think a lot of this too is like, one of the things, and I certainly struggle with this, is when I hear somebody say something is wrong, I kind of want to like see, okay, how can I immediately help? How can I make this better? What can I do to fix this problem? And sometimes that's not really the best thing to do. It seems like it should be, and in some cases it is. I don't want to say that, like, if somebody's like bleeding on the side of the road, you shouldn't call 911. You absolutely should. But there are also times where, when people are dealing with grief and especially, death and sickness, we want to say, well, just focus on it. Just think of the good times, or just focus on. And I do this too. It's a defensive thing because I don't like dealing with those realities. I don't like dealing with death. I don't like to even think about it because it's a horrifying thing to me. So I struggle when people say, that somebody's died or something, and I kind of just want to, somehow make it okay. But you can't make it okay. Like, the person died. Like, they're dead. They're gone. So it's tough to find that situation. Tough to just respond in a way that is like, I hear you and I understand, in some way, or I sympathize with what you're going through, but not try to fix it. You know what I mean? Not try to like make it better. Because you can't. And Nestle 6 says, I think this goes away when you stop caring so much of what others think. There will always be resistance when others see you are not following trends. So do your thing and be authentic to yourself. I agree with that. Sad news is often the most impactful. Well, that's something that I'm going to be getting to with this as well, because there's implications on music with all of this too. Tremor Bear, hurt my right arm last year, but haven't done anything about it yet. Well, I'm not gonna break my own advice right now, but it might be something to think about dealing with that. But you got to do what you got to do. Falco says, I've been dealing with diverticulitis flare for 3 weeks. It's not fun, painful, and slow to heal. That sucks. However, I acknowledge my pain and discomfort. and choose to be positive through it. Well, I certainly know exactly where you're coming from with that, because I had to deal with that just a couple of months ago, and probably will again. I know how you feel. Here's a story about me approach. Also bad. Yes. Yeah. That one, and that's a thing. We go to that though. We go to that. We go to what we know, don't we? We go to what we know. We're like, okay, well, I've never had like, I don't like when people lose children. So I don't have children. So I can't really, I don't think I can fully fathom like losing a child, but, going to say like, well, this is what it was like when my dog died. Well, it's similar, but it's not quite the same thing. Tremor Bear, I drank toxic water growing up. Hughes aircraft. Well, that's another big problem that's in the world today, is all the, pollution and so forth. Hello, Zach. Welcome. Fat Panda Cat says you see a lot of it in bankruptcies. Owners are the last to admit they'll have to close or they're in financial trouble. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but I think that's self-preservation, isn't it? It's like, no. Everything's fine. We're good. We're doing well. Employees, don't worry. Don't start looking for new jobs. We're doing just fine. We're a little down time, but we'll get back. We'll get back on track. And unfortunately, a lot of those cases, no, they absolutely won't. Let's see if there's anything else here that we can get. So there's some action steps. So that's good. This tells us, how to kind of deal with this stuff. Practice vulnerability and honesty in relationships. Little is gained by maintaining a facade of happiness. In fact, doing so only leads us to isolation from others and avoidance of our own needs. Ignoring difficult emotions doesn't make them go away. By expressing our true feelings with others, we can find true connection and better understand the experiences of our loved ones without judgment. And if you've had difficult family members, certainly this is a thing that you've probably had to deal with in some way. And you have to, I think you have to express your feelings honestly sometimes, and sometimes you may have to sever those relationships. Only you can answer those questions. Only you can figure out when the time is to do what. But sometimes it might be better just to not deal with certain people that are causing you a problem. But also, there's a series of steps that you can take before you get to that point. Don't just immediately go there. 2, don't pressure others to be optimistic. This is so very important. I can't stress this enough. If people feel obligated to muster up a positive perspective or cheerful attitude but are unable to do so, they may begin to feel guilty. Yes. Instead, come alongside others to support and encourage them with a willingness to listen without any pressure of optimism. And they have practice deep breathing and mindfulness, which is always certainly a good thing. Hello, Eaton Music Productions. Welcome. Great to have you here with us. So yeah, practicing deep breathing and mindfulness. You can do the deep breathing. I mean, there's lots of exercises online. If you search for them, you will find all kinds of resources for how to do this kind of stuff. And you try taking slow, deep breaths with one hand on your stomach, one on your chest. As you do so, slowly acknowledge your surroundings, the way your body feels, other sensations of touch, light, smell, and hearing. Notice how this mindfulness and deep breathing allowed you to connect with yourself and respond to those emotions. For more mindful breathing tools, they actually have a link there for that. Maybe I need to put these things in the description later as well. I should probably do that. I'll give it to you right now. This seems like a good resource. So I will pop that in, and then you can go there if you want to read a little bit more and advocate for yourself. If someone frequently responds to your experience using phrases like "it could be worse" or "at least blah blah blah," at least you still have your one arm got ripped off in that when that car went down the street and but yeah, you still have the other one. You know, that's probably not the best way to respond. Communicate to them the way they're responding is invalidating. I mean, you probably don't want to do this like, super confrontational, hey, don't tell me that. That's invalidating. But it might be a way to say like, hey, yeah, that's a little bit insensitive to my situation. My arm just got ripped off. Okay? I'm allowed to feel upset about that. You have your arm ripped off and tell me how you feel. Pete says, I've always struggled with mindfulness. I'm more of a practical guy. It wasn't until I researched the science of breathing and how to change brain chemistry that I realized how good it is. And I'm not advocating for anything. Everybody's got to do their own thing, right? But if something happened to be burning in front of your face while you breathed in, then, that could be something too. But anyway, yeah, so advocate for yourself. I think that's important. Now, I did want to get into and kind of transition for the second half of this, like, what effect does this have on music? Because this is all a lot of stuff in life, right? That we all have to be more aware of, and we have to think a lot more about. But what about music? So I'm gonna, I'm always gonna be the guy who advocates for the 90s. I grew up in the 1990s. It really came of age. I was born in the 80s, but I came of age in the 1990s. And in the 1990s, I don't think we had a problem with toxic positivity as much as we have today. I'm going to read you some lyrics from some songs that, 420 ways sometimes. Some people may enjoy that. Hello, Ed Zielinski. Welcome. But I'm going to read you some lyrics that you probably have heard before. You probably know these songs. That's why I picked them, because I think people would know them. So let's take a look at Hurt, song by 9 Inch Nails, 1994. Great year, 1994. I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The needle tears a hole, the old familiar sting. Try to kill it all away, but I remember everything. What have I become, my sweetest friend? Everyone I know goes away in the end. You could have it all, my empire of dirt. I will let you down. I will make you hurt. I wear this crown of shit upon my liar's chair, full of broken thoughts I cannot repair. Johnny Cash did do a version of this, but he changed the lyric from crown of shit to crown of thorns, and I could never forgive him for that one. Otherwise, he did a great job, though. Beneath the stains of time, the feelings disappear. You are someone else. I am still right here. What have I become, my sweetest friend? Everyone I know goes away in the end. And you could have it all, my empire of dirt. I will let you down. I will make you hurt. If I could start again, 1,000,000 miles away, I would keep myself. I would find a way. Is this a positive song? Is this expressing positive emotions? Hell no, it isn't. And if you listen to more 9 Inch Nails songs, a lot of them are very much in this vein. And most of the music that I listen to is probably in this vein. Well, let's not just limit ourselves. Let's take a look at an even more popular artist, right? A more popular band, Nirvana. Okay. This is Heart-Shaped Box. I could have picked probably just about any Nirvana song, but I'm going to go with Heart-Shaped Box because most of us know this. She eyes me like a Pisces when I am weak. I've been locked inside your heart-shaped box for weeks. I've been drawn into your magnet tar pit trap. I wish I could eat your cancer when you turn black. Hey, wait, I got a new complaint. Forever in debt to your priceless advice. Meat-eating orchids forgive no one just yet. Cut myself on angel hair and baby's breath. Broken hymen of your highness, I'm left black. Throw down your umbilical noose so I can climb right back. Hey, wait, I've got a new complaint. Forever in debt to your priceless advice. And then it repeats the first verse again. Is this a positive song? Is this positivity here? I don't think so. Doesn't sound like it to me. Not positive in the least. In the least. Now, there's a lot of people, I think, nowadays who would look at this and they would say, if somebody wrote this now we have a cherished place in our hearts for this music because a lot of us grew up listening to it. But if somebody wrote something like this today, I think a lot of people would probably say, geez, wow, man, that's a pretty negative view of the world. You're really, I just don't know that there's a lot of positivity in that. Where is there any hope in this? People would say this stuff. People would say this if somebody wrote this today, and that makes me really sad. That makes me sad because this is such a beautiful expression of emotion. This right here, this is brilliance, brilliant. Both of these songs that I mentioned, and many, many more that these two artists alone, and I could probably find more if I went and looked up some Soundgarden lyrics. I don't think that most of those aren't going to be too different. If I went and looked up, my goodness, Stone Temple Pilots, they have one of their big songs was called Dead and Bloated, right? Doesn't sound like positivity to me. But here's the problem that we have. We didn't have social media back then. I'm not going to blame everything on social. I'm not one of those, blame everything on social media kind of people. Oh, damn kids and their social media. See, they get on there and they get on that social media and they get hooked on the toxic positivity. Nah, I'm not going to do that. But, yeah, you go back to the 60s, man. Our love becomes a funeral pyre. You look at at least some stuff from Alice Cooper, certainly Black Sabbath, War Pigs, right? And many, many, many other songs. Paranoid. These are not songs expressing a lot of positivity, but it seems like nowadays, oh yeah, Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains. Definitely not expressing a ton of positivity in their music. But it does seem to me like nowadays, and if you look at the top, pop music today, you're not going to see stuff like this. You're not going to see songs like Heart-Shaped Box. You're not going to see songs like Man in the Box, Buried in My Shit. You're not going to see that. And I think that's a real tragedy. I think that's the real tragedy right there. Because there's a lot of things in this world to not be happy about. There's a lot of things in this world to be righteously angry about. And there's a lot of things in this world to be very sad about. And I think when we cut off that form of expression, and look, there's a reason why, not to make it about me, but there's a reason why it took me 3 years to get 1,000 subscribers. There's a reason why. And it's not the quality of the content that I'm producing. It's not the quality of the music that I'm producing. I don't think, this is my theory. It's because I don't shy away from this kind of stuff. And if I did, I could do it. And I'd probably have a lot more followers. I'd probably have a lot more followers if I did, but I wouldn't be being true to myself, And that's very, very important to me. Because, what would be my impetus for writing music that's just going to please other people instead of writing music that I feel like needs to be in the world? And I hate to see that happen because I know it's not just me that's happening too. We had Crowmaster on here earlier. They were talking about, hey, MJ, welcome. Working on a song called Pitchfork. There you go. Or, yeah, you just pay for views. Thank you, Seagull. Appreciate that. But I mean, it's a broader context, right? And it's like there's a lot of pressure these days to just kind of toe the line, to not call stuff out, to not feel this righteous anger and righteous sadness about the state of the world, and even about your own life and things that you're going through. You know, there's a lot of impetus right now away from that, and I feel like that is, see, that to me, it's damaging. It's damaging in everyday life, but it's especially damaging when it comes to music. And I know there's great artists out there, and I play some of them on You Rock TV. You'll hear them on YML that are doing this kind of stuff, and they're doing it really, really well. But there isn't an appetite for it, and I think social media plays a role in that. I think that there's other pressures too, that the pressure is to, well, there's so much negativity in the world, and it's easy to come to this conclusion, right? There's so much negativity in the world. Let's just forget about that, and let's have a diversion to something else. And actually, the album that I'm working on, funny enough, it kind of is that, but it kind of isn't. It's both. It's got feet in both worlds. So you'll find out soon what that's all about. But yeah, it's a delicate, and it is a delicate balance. I mean, I suppose you don't. I hate to even like put any kind of asterisks or coda on anything. But like, it's not good to not have that out there. You know what I mean? Let's have a war in South America. Why not? Hello, Groke Avalaneda. Welcome. Hello, Gore Team 85. So yeah. So my encouragement to all of you is to just be honest. Just be honest with what you do. Try not to feel that pressure, even though I know you feel that pressure, because I feel the pressure. The pressure's out there. Okay. Hello, Ashley. Welcome. The pressure is definitely out there to just put positivity into the world. Just always, always keep upbeat. But think back to these artists. Okay, Nirvana, 9 Inch Nails, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains. We can go Metallica. I'm sure a lot of Metallica. I'm sure a lot of Metallica's music is very positive, right? Sleeping with one eye open, gripping your pillow tight. Even that song. Now, Nothing Else Matters. Nothing Else Matters could be one of the ones that's positive from Metallica. I suppose that could be looked at as a positive song. But sad but true. Hate, I'm your hate. I'm your hate when you want love. Pay the price. Pay for nothing's real. There's Metallica. So Metallica also very very positive. Master of Puppets is pulling your strings. R-wording your mind and smashing your dreams. So yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff, and like Denise says, we have to speak out. We have to speak out, and we have to oppose the things that are happening. And so, in that vein, I guess we'll get into a little bit of this too, because there's this whole thing of like, there's this weird like. So, for a long time, there was a movement to push tolerance, okay? And it was a good thing because it was tolerance to people with people who have different types of sexuality, different genders, different races, ethnicities, different levels of ability, so forth. And that I thought that was a good thing. But now there's like a cynical tolerance that happens where it's like, I tolerate. I want you to tolerate my intolerance. If that makes sense. Okay, I'm an intolerant person, and you should tolerate that from me. And then that's when it becomes. And I thought you were tolerant, right? You're tolerant, aren't you? Well, I don't know that it always should work that way. Um, so this talks about a dangerous form of tolerance, avoiding censorship and apathy. So there are some things that just bug the heck out of me. For instance, I hate it when people wear dirty shoes into my bedroom, and I hate it when it takes forever to log onto one of the Science Center mainframes because every computer science course has a problem set due at the same time. This is coming from the Harvard Crimson, so assumedly, coming from Harvard. But hey, I'm a reasonable person. I can always sweep dirt out of my bedroom, and computer science problem sets are probably more important than my daily fix of email, so I tolerate the little things that annoy me. I'm also a card-carrying multiculturalist. I tolerate religious pluralism, differences in political ideology, and various ethnic backgrounds and sexual orientations. Clearly, the word tolerance refers to two very different ideas in different contexts. In the first sense, the things I tolerate are unpleasant, disagreeable irritants. Okay. In the second, political sense, the things we tolerate are vital aspects of our national character. As a pluralistic society, differences in ideology and lifestyle are unavoidable. In fact, the democratic style of government assumes that discourse between different opinions is valuable and essential to a just government. I think there's something wrong with the way tolerance is used in the second sense. I hate to quibble about semantics, but it's inappropriate to use the same term to speak about both American democratic ideals, and you could really expand this to the world, and slow email. The terminology that political activists have adopted belies a more fundamental problem in our attitude towards pluralism. There are three reasons why I think the idea of political tolerance is flawed. First, tolerance encourages moral relativism. If differences of opinion are simply tolerated, we have to accept that all points of view, no matter how divisive, destructive, unethical, or untrue, must be allowed. Originally, the belief that no individual or group of people had an absolute monopoly on the truth was a true democratic virtue. But well-intentioned libertarians have transmuted this idea into a reluctance to judge any opinion wrong. Second, tolerance breeds apathy. Normally, the things we tolerate are fairly unimportant but persistent annoyances, but many of the ideas debated in national political discourse are far from trivial. A parade of skinheads marching down Main Street is not a minor nuisance to be tolerated, but a display of hate that Americans and people all over the world must find unacceptable. Finally, tolerance gives extremists a degree of clout they don't deserve. If you've read most of the editorial positions produced by our campus media in the past year, blah, 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 you might notice that fervent claims of disenfranchisement and marginalization haven't come from the Radcliffe Union of Students or from Harvard's gay, lesbian, bisexual community, or even from the various minority organizations, but from campus conservatives. Our own fixation on tolerance allows our peninsulan friends, and this is probably something that's a little bit specific to where this is coming from, but even their own intolerance be tolerated. The simplistic solution, unfortunately one most often suggested, is that the entire idea of freedom of expression is antiquated and should not be held to apply to certain kinds of speech. Demonstrators at one recent rally against racism in Boston demanded that a skinhead organization not be allowed to march, a flagrant violation of the constitutional right, free speech, and assembly. We face a delicate dilemma caught between indifference and censorship. It's a difficult distinction, but by no means unresolvable. First of all, any limitation on free speech is unacceptable. The unfettered flow of opinions in political debate is crucial to the proper functioning of democracy. Even the anti-Semitic historical revisionists and homophobic gay bashers have the right to argue their cases. This point has probably been discussed in thousands of editorials and academic treatises, and it should be obvious to any conscientious member of American society. I certainly hope I don't need to belabor the argument here. Rather than either tolerate diversity or attempt to obliterate it, we should engage it through interaction and discourse. Just as there is no reason for ethnic minorities to tolerate stereotyping and discrimination, there's no reason why conservatives must feel compelled to blindly embrace liberal ideas. Engaging diversity incorporates two ideas: the original idea of multiculturalism and a response to dissenting opinions. As it was originally conceived before it became one of the top 10 buzzwords, multiculturalism meant that society could learn from every ethnic and political group. Nowadays, Harvard students' idea of multiculturalism is racial quotas in the faculty's hiring policy and an occasional inter-organizational protest. I'd like to see more minority representation in pop culture. There should be more homosexual literature read and studies as authentic American art, not only in gay studies, but by mainstream society. There should be more demonstrations of minority culture, not only as foreign culture, but as an integral part of modern American consciousness. Engaging diversity also allows us to answer the skinheads who want all the Asians, Black, Jews, and Hispanics killed or shipped back wherever they came from. I have faith in rational argumentation. If divisive opinion is constantly scrutinized and debated, racism, sexism, homophobia, and anti-Semitism can be eliminated. I don't know about that 100%, but is right here. There's no quick fix. Political discourse and debate is time-consuming and often frustrating. In the meanwhile, we still have to deal with skinheads demonstrating in our backyard. In this sense, we don't need to just tolerate. We still don't need to just tolerate them. After all, our claim to free speech is just as valid as theirs. We may not be able to shut them up, but we can certainly outnumber them and outshout them. And so this is, this is another aspect to the whole thing, as well. And, another part that just comes back to how important it is that we be allowed to express opinions and that we be allowed to speak out for what is right and incorporate righteous outrage, righteous sadness into our music, into our personal lives as well. Hello, XL Rattail. Welcome. What did remember? I think it's funny that people think they are better than others. Yeah. All right. Socrates was poisoned because he always thought tolerance. Yeah, I mean, so it just comes back to all these different things and all these different expressions, and it's important that we keep our voice. It really is in these times, and in the music we create. In the 1960s, there was a lot of great music that fueled the revolution that ultimately. Now, I wouldn't say that the 1960s revolution was particularly successful in a lot of ways. They did eventually end the Vietnam War. I imagine that probably would have happened anyway because it wasn't very popular to begin with. It never is. Nobody likes war. It's a question of why we do that. But there was a lot of music that was written around that time, and even if it didn't change culture right then, even if it didn't lead to positive changes right then, certainly it had an effect as we went forward. And, I think something like that could happen right now. But will we allow it to happen? Or will we just sweep those voices aside in favor of the latest party anthem? Unfortunately, I think I know the answer to it. I don't like the answer, but I think I know what it is. Thank you, Jade. Yes, if you're enjoying what I'm saying, if you're digging what I'm talking about here, hit that like button. XL Rattail says, if you're for enlightenment, the fearful will hate you. Yeah. So I just think all this is really, really important, and it's important in the music that we make. It's not compression, it's not EQ, it's not the synth, it's not the latest synth plugin, or it's not the latest reverb or whatever, but this is the stuff that makes up the substance of the music. All that other stuff is just window dressing. That's the little secret that nobody wants to tell you. This we can make it really about music production here. That the you can do all kinds of things with your music in terms of mixing and mastering and the various effects and different things that you can run stuff through. But ultimately, like the substance of the songs, that's why lyrics to me most important. Most important. I care about nothing more than lyrics. So I'm always listening to lyrics first and then everything else. But it is all about the bass. Jenny said there were huge cultural changes about the roles possibilities for women, but it really didn't happen until the mid 70s. Yeah, but that framework right there was laid out in the 60s. And yeah, a lot of it was just people getting high on LSD and pot and rolling around in mud at Woodstock. That was part of it too. But there was a lot of important social progress that happened then. Even if maybe the 1980s undid a lot of it. But certainly the progress that was made for women was huge. And it's just a shame they weren't ever able to get the Equal Rights Amendment passed. But maybe one day we'll get that. We can actually say everybody's equal. I don't know why that's a controversial thing. I don't think it's a controversial thing. I don't even think it matters what side of political spectrum you fall on. Like, people are equal. Crazy thought. But I guess in some circles it is. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for indulging me in all of this. Don't forget, we got U-Rock coming up tomorrow. I have to get to work on getting that produced. Leela said, I had to change my passwords due to them being old and outdated. It's been taking me forever. No toxic positivity about this. It sucks. Yes. I know the pain. I know the pain. Especially with the Google stuff, man. It's tied into everything. It's tied in. Now, there was a report. This is just a public service statement, really, right here. But there was a report that there was a whole bunch of Google accounts that were compromised. But then there's also somebody had said that it was greatly overstated, and then I also saw something that it was due to something with Salesforce, and that the people who were affected by it were notified. So I don't know how worried we need to be. I mean, the fact of the matter is our passwords are probably out there on all kinds of stuff on the dark web. Who knows? You know, I have a couple things that are supposed to let me know about that, and you know, anyway, exactly. No one is more or less than the other. If you've had diarrhea, you ain't better. Yeah, exactly. You know what? Everybody gets diarrhea. Outlook doesn't accept my new password, but it does accept the 2-factor if it gets the request and gives me a code. 8 breaches from one and 3 from the other. Jesus. Shit. Godspeed to you, to Leela, on that. But yes. So, yeah, everyone poops. At the end of the day, everybody shits. And if you shit, you can't be better than anyone else, right? On all the hope I didn't get pwned site or whatever. I have to take a look on there. I have a feeling I know what it's gonna say though. Diarrhea of a madman. All right. Wow. Hopefully you found this engaging. It's a big topic. I probably could go on for another 4 hours. I'm not going to. Believe me, I will spare you that. But you know, it's really something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, and I've finally been able to do it. So I hope you got something out of it. I remember I'm here every week. I do this show. It's not always about serious stuff like this. Sometimes I actually do talk about music making. But I kind of like in this philosophical side of things because I don't get to do this too much. So I'll be back with another Make It Rock next week. Jade's got a member show up next. So if you're a Jade Star member, you can check that out. I got a dump set, so you'll be dumped over there. and you'll find out if you're a member or not. Because if you're not a member, it'll just say you're not a member and you can't watch it. I guess that's what happens. Yeah, farts are the best. Laughing gas, absolutely. So again, I'm gonna be working on getting this U-Rock together, and we'll get it for you tomorrow. Premiering at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Don't forget, there's all kinds of crazy time changes this weekend. I think my show on Saturday. No, you know what? I think this weekend it's still at 7 p.m. and then the weekend after that it'll go to 6 p.m. on Saturdays. And then the weekday shows like this and U-Rock will go to 5 p.m. I think that's how that works because US is changing the times this weekend. 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. Set those clocks back an hour. And yep, that's all there is. That's all there is to it. Don't forget, by the way, Russ has his charity album. Blame the Australian. No, actually, this one's our fault because we do if we just stayed in standard time or daylight savings time all year round, we wouldn't have this problem. But that'd be like the one thing that would be easy to do, but they don't do it. Every year somebody propose. The government's shut down right now. Usually they propose something every year, and then they don't do anything about it. But and yeah, you don't have to worry about it because you don't change times. You just stay in standard time all year round. Lucky you. All right. So thank you once again, and yeah, you'll be dumped over to Jade's member stream, and you got Leela coming up tomorrow with the Fur and Frets. You got Jade with another great app review, and then you got U-Rock TV. So, much love, take care. Most importantly, keep rocking the way you want to. Bye-bye.